The title Open Grid, after many researches and studied, finally we reached to that concept because it is creating such a flexible open field for students and the teachers to create such the new way of learning, new way of teachings, and integrating the various different activities in the schools. And at the same time, it is making the nice stepping volumes to make a harmony to the neighborhood. And also the stepping grids is making the connection to the history of the existing campus buildings. So in that sense, it is the concept to create the new type of the learning spaces as well as to make a harmony to the surroundings. The grids is, in a sense, it's like a really transparent and quite like a neutral in a sense. So we can divide as we like, or we can make the enclosed spaces, or we can make the unexpected connection to each others. And finally, those open spaces, three-dimensional open spaces, is making such an interactions between different open activities throughout the whole buildings. That is quite like an important part of the project for us, because in the future learning situations, I believe it's not like one type of the classrooms, but the various different activities and workshops and the conversations could happen throughout the whole buildings. And this open grid is making such a mutual interactions and inspirations to each others to make the whole building as like the networks of the inspirations. That must be quite exciting, I think.
What we can see only is how today technology is going so fast, or evolving so fast, and how our way of living, of learning, of being is influenced by the technologies always. So today there is this need of having access to everything rather quickly to be able to use or to make as we wish this kind of connectivity. So this was one of the important key points of this project, how to finally be somewhere in the learning center and thinking, okay, if I need to do this, I can see it, or I can just make it if I want. Finally, thinking of tomorrow is trying to think ahead maybe from what we see, or like the way we are behaving in a sense, and then finally leave doors open so that it can evolve. So Open Grid is also this flexibility that allows the learning center to change or to modify itself according to the needs.
It is like the entrance is like a train stations, and then the cloisters and the workshop areas and the holodeck for the future, something like a future. And four things are like different things in a sense. So we try to integrate them and properly lay out and to create the proper atmosphere and experiences. So the entrance is more like the open spaces where you can see everything in a sense. And the cloister is like the atrium spaces. It's like the central heart together with the workshop areas, so quite like active. But when it is going up, it's getting more like a quiet and calm, so it's getting more like a cloister of the monastery. So it's like a transition of the different types of the cloisters in a sense. And then those kind of flexibility could allow to create the holodeck, like the futuristic things, or quite like analog workshop spaces also possible. Inspired by those kind of the four keywords on the briefs, we try to re-understand it and to give a shape on it. Actually, as you said, the contrast and the harmony was the key. And of course, we like to respect the existing buildings and the grids of the existing buildings, but at the same time, it should be something new. And so we try hard to what kind of volumes and what kind of geometries could be like properly harmonized. And finally, we divided the buildings in a 10-meter grid. It is rather big buildings, but because of those kind of divisions, it has more like intimate scales to harmonize. And those stepping terraces is really relating to the stepping structures of the existing campus. So finally, yeah, we try to create such kind of the contrast and the harmony, new and old things. Yeah, that was the quite important part.
There's this idea of a journey that works a bit as a link from the outside, from the street, to the very heart of the learning center, as thinking that you may walk and talk with someone and go on and sometimes stop to work or to sit or to read or to discuss and then go on the same journey. And finally, this is this work that binds together the learning center, the campus, the neighborhood, considering that inspiration and knowledge comes from this dialogue, from interaction in the university, but before all in the city. It starts elsewhere. So that's this also outside, inside contribution one to another that is important. I hope, or I feel it could be something you discover time to time for different reasons. Each space from the different levels have a different relationship with the outside, different light also. So from the below, it's in a sense larger, very linked to the entrance, very linked to the immediate surroundings. But then when you go higher, you have also the light, which will be rather changing and quite subtle, quite beautiful, I imagine, with the different levels of the grids, the milky glass and the transparent glass. So I believe and we hope that it's more of an experience always, rather than something that you've understand or seen all at once. And as in regards to the landscape, really, in this particular project, St. Gallen has this beautiful setting with the valley. So that was also one very important point we felt and that I could report when I came here. Then it was how the university is stepping, which recreates or follows simply naturally the landscape. So it's not trying to make an effect, it's more like nicely fitting into the actual landscape. And this point was very important. So also, like, our site is already quite stepping at some point, but we had the chance to be rather flat. But then finally on one side, the neighbors on the other side of the street are a bit higher up. And then finally the library, existing library, is also like much further down. And then we had to reach the level of the university, which was also a bit down from the street. So this stepping and using the grid as this nice connection finally with those levels was a strong point.
I hope this building is really like a naturally fitting to this environment, and like a continuity of the histories and the continuity of the landscape. But at the same time, it should be like the strong landmark in a sense, where every time the new things is happening continuously. So like a special locations. And for the activities inside, wow, I hope this whole space could inspire students, not just allowing students to do whatever they like, it is the basics, but even more inspiring students to behave something beyond their daily life. So those kind of interaction between the space and the students' activities could continue. That is quite like an exciting future.